What up, guys? Nick from WhatUpMC here, and the legendary beasts have just been released in Pokemon GO. Raikou, Entei, and Suicune are finally out. They were supposed to come out today, the 31st, but they're probably going to only be out worldwide afterwards because Niantic only does stuff like on the West Coast first. But anyways, let's get into where you're going to be able to find these legendary Pokemon, what Pokemon you're going to want to be using against them in the raid battles, and what CP and movesets you're going to be hoping for once you catch them, if you do. They did fix the Premier Ball bug where there's no way you can catch Pokemon on the last ball unless it's a critical capture. I actually just caught a Moltres today on the last ball without a critical capture. So hopefully that's going to make things just a little bit easier to catch these legendary Pokemon than it was for the last three. So let's start with Raikou or Raikou. They say it two different ways in the show and other stuff, so it doesn't really matter how you pronounce it. I would have liked to have one to show you guys, but obviously they only came out when raids were only still available on the West Coast and nowhere else. Raikou is going to be available in the Americas, so North America, South America. Entei is available in Europe and Africa, and then Suicune is available in Asia and the Pacific area, so like Australia and stuff like that. And then they are going to be rotating on a 1 month schedule, so we don't know which one's going to switch next. Don't know if Entei or Suicune's coming to the Americas, but over the period of the next 3 months, every single one of the legendary beasts is going to eventually rotate around the whole world. So let's get to their weaknesses. Basically, an easy way to remember it is just think of them like bigger versions of Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon. They're just pure electric, fire, and water types. Raikou is pure electric type, so it's only weak to ground. Entei is weak to ground, rock, and water. And Suicune is weak to grass and electric. Mewtwo, if you actually have it, is actually going to be the strongest attacker. And then closely followed by Alakazam with Confusion and Future Sight. And Gengar with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball, which is a legacy moveset. So if you're lucky enough that you have that, then those will be good to use against Raikou. Even though those Pokemon are best for getting the most damage out possible, if you just want like the best overall Pokemon that's going to be dealing a lot of damage and also be able to survive pretty long, considering Raikou only has electric type attacks and electric is not that great against ground, your best bet is going to be either Rhydon or Golem. Those are pretty much the only high damage dealing ground type Pokemon that there are. But I'm going to assume that a lot of people have probably already switched most of their golems to purely rock-type movesets after the legendary birds, so probably you're only really going to want to focus on Rhydon for Raikou. For me personally, I already have this Rhydon that's over 3000 CP, and I have this other one that's 98%, Mudslap, Earthquake. I'm just going to power this one up a little bit, and then that'll be it. I'll just bring those two Rhydons, and then the rest will be some pretty strong Dragonites, Alakazams, Espeons, stuff like that, because I don't really care if the Pokemon die. I just want to get off the most damage possible during the raid to get as many Premier Balls and rewards as possible. I have a whole bunch of Rhydons that have Mudslap and Stone Edge that I kind of would have liked to have switched to Earthquake, but for some reason Niantic just refuses to give me charged TMs at all, so I'm not really going to waste my time worrying about those. Just two Rhydons and a bunch of other damage dealers are going to be good to take out Raikou. So now that you know what to use against Raikou, what you're going to want to be hoping for when you actually go to catch it is going to be 1913. That is the 100% perfect IV Raikou. Anything probably like 30 CP below that is probably going to be really high too. And the best moveset that it has is Thundershock, Wild Charge. These legendaries are a bit different from the birds. The birds only had one charge move. These ones actually have two charge moves. So they have 6 possible movesets. Thundershock Wild Charge is the best one overall, but Volt Switch Wild Charge is actually a really close second. And then those same 2 fast moves with Thunderbolt are also pretty good. And for if this Pokemon is actually going to be useful, yes, Raikou is actually going to be the strongest electric type attacker in the game. It would have been Zapdos if they had actually given Zapdos Thundershock, but they kind of screwed Zapdos out of that. So since Zapdos has Charge Beam, Raikou is actually going to be the strongest electric type attacker in the game and the 12th strongest attacker overall. So now for Entei, my personal favorite of the trio and one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 2. Like I said before, weak to ground, rock, and water. So for the best possible attacker that you can bring to this match, it's actually not Mewtwo. Mewtwo is beaten out slightly by Golem. So I'm really excited to hear this, seeing as though I still have this huge squad of Golems that I've been using for legendary birds and solo and Arcanines. Entei is basically just like a huge Arcanine if you really think about it. And if you have it, the legacy moveset Amistar with Rock Throw and Hydro Pump, or Rock Throw and Rock Slide, are going to be really good attackers too. And then other than that, just, you know, Mewtwo and Alakazam and Gengar. And then a whole bunch of good water types like Starmie, Feraligatr, and Vaporeon. So not a lot to worry about with this guy. Probably a lot of people are going to have Rock Throw, Stone Edge Golems after the legendary birds. and a lot of people probably have some Water Gun Vaporeons that they could break out to use against this guy. And once you do take it down, the CP that you're going to be hoping for 100% perfect IVs is 1930. So anything above 1900 is probably going to be a really good Entei. And for movesets, its best moveset is Fire Spin and Overheat, which is basically the best fire type moveset ever. A very close second is Fire Fang and Overheat, and then the other ones are like kind of a bit farther below that. As for if this Pokemon is a good attacker, as much as I would like it to be, it's not. Entei actually comes a bit behind Moltres and Flareon. So those are the two best fire type attackers in the game. Entei's third, then there's Charizard and Arcanine. Oh, not even Arcanine. Typhlosion's just above him. Oh, and before we move on, if you were wondering, hey Nick, isn't Suicune a water type? Wouldn't it be good to use against Entei? No, it won't. Suicune is a bad attacker. Don't use Suicune against anything. So for last Pokemon, Suicune. Yeah, the way Suicune's stats work out, it's not that great. I don't know what they were thinking with this moveset either. Anyways, so for Pokemon that you're going to want to be using against Suicune, if you have some really good Raikous, if you happen to get Raikou before Suicune, Raikou is going to be the best Pokemon that you're going to be able to use against it. And then Zapdos, if you got some pretty good ones with Charge Beam Zap Cannon or Charge Beam Thunderbolt. Then in terms of non-legendary Pokemon, Exeggutor is a good one, but you're going to want to watch out for Suicunes that have Snarl. Snarl is a dark type move, and Exeggutor is part psychic, so it is going to be weak to those moves. And then the next best grass Pokemon, Victory Bell, is part poison, and the other move that Suicune gets is extrasensory, and that's psychic, which is good against poison. So if you bring Exeggutor and Victory Bell, you're going to get wrecked by one of the moves. Other than that, Jolteon and Magneton are pretty good. Venusaur, pretty good. Same deal as Victory Bell, though, weak to the extrasensory. And then everything else beyond that is not as great. But once you beat it and you get to catching it, the perfect 100% IV Suicune that you're going to want to be looking for is 1613. So that is a full 300 CP below the perfect Raikou. So because of how its stat works out, and it's a very defensive Pokemon, it doesn't end up having a very high CP, but it is going to be useful for defending. Okay, I was just going to leave that in there, but that would probably be really confusing to people who have not played the game in a while and don't know you can't put legendary Pokemon in gyms. So it doesn't really matter that Suicune's super defensive. It's just, it's not going to be like that great of an attacker. You're going to just use Vaporeon if you're going to want to be looking for a water type attacker. In terms of the best moveset, pretty much just anything with Hydro Pump. It gets Extrasensory and Snarl. They both pretty much do the same amount of damage, and Suicune is neither a Psychic or a Dark type, so neither of the moves get Stab. So Extrasensory and Snarl are they're the same basically damage, and then Hydro Pump. Just hope you get Hydro Pump if you even really want to use your Suicune. But yeah, so from September 1st to September 30th, you're going to be able to find the one legendary beast that is in your region, and then on September 30th, they're going to change again to another region. We don't know in what order they're going to change to. I kind of hope Entei comes, because I just really want Entei. Actually, no, if Entei's last, then I get to catch one on my birthday probably. But yeah, so from September 30th to October 31st, it's going to be the second one. And then from October 31st to, they don't say when it ends, probably November 30th, is going to be the third one. If you guys are not too familiar with the main series games, this is kind of in relation to how they worked in Gold and Silver, where as you tried to like track the Pokemon down, they would like move around the map. So this is kind of different. I guess they can't actually have Pokemon moving like in the game, because then people would just like run into traffic and stuff. Yeah, they're kind of moving, so I guess that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to be getting a Raikou tomorrow once I power up my Rhydons a little bit, and hopefully find one before the raid times end, because raids end way too soon. But if you guys want to see that video when I post it, then hit the subscribe button down below. And if you found this video informative, then make sure to hit the like button and let me know which legendary beast is going to be hitting you tomorrow. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.